Perfect Turd Podcast, episode 102, Lamar, Black Friday.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. So this movie came out recently. Of course, it's matching up with not Thanksgiving, but the actual Black Friday. You know, unfortunately, people have been injured and have died doing this. And so they said, hey, let's make a movie about it. We're going to slap some zombies up in there. And we got Black Friday. And we have an interesting cast for this movie, don't we, Joe?
Yeah, of course, Bruce Campbell, obviously, who's always been great. And he has the Evil Dead connection. Michael Jai White, who's a badass.
And our hero.
We love.
Yes.
And for me, and we're going to talk about this, that's where the interest ends as far as the characters.
I have to agree, Joe, because the premise is great.
Yes.
I like the social commentary that they kind of started off with, because it's this place called We Love Toys. And of course, these workers, they don't want to be there. It's Black Friday. And, you know, the people are rushing to try to get in. But then something happens where it's like a meteor comes down and starts infecting people and starts to turn them into zombies. And they have to find a way to fight off these zombies as they try to, you know, get into the store. Well, they get into the store, but they're just trying to fight to survive. Yeah.
And there's never really any explanation of what the meteor thing is and what the zombies are. Yeah. There's very little explanation of, like, how do you kill them?
It's kind of one of those things where it's like you learn as you go, Joe. You know, it's one of those where it's like, they shoot things out of their mouth. Blah, 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 blah. So that is an issue, but I don't think that's the biggest issue, because I'll say this. If they would have just had it where, okay, we gotta, you know, we're just making this stuff up as we go, that would have been fine. I think the problem is, and we talk about this a lot, is the pacing. To me, I'll say that. To me, because it's like, it starts off with the high energy, then it dips down. Then it tries to pick up, and then you're just like, well, what the hell? Like,
they were trying, I think, to show you the characters, like bonding and stuff.
Right.
But the problem is, to me, the characters are uninteresting characters. Except Bruce Campbell's always great.
Yeah.
Michael Jai White was awesome in this, but he gets killed pretty quickly. He's not in it a lot. So, like, he could have been, like, the interesting kind of badass dude, you know, maybe he had some kind of background or whatever. And all the other characters are just they're just the kind of disgruntled workers. And that seems to be the only thing that connects any of these characters.
Yeah. They tried to do it with the main character, Devon Sawa, you know, because he's kind of like pretty much down on his luck. He's had 2 daughters, and then we find out his wife left him, you know, because he got laid off and things didn't go well. So that kind of thing, you know, he has to like share custody. So they could have made that. They could have maybe made him, I don't know, like this guy that maybe he got kicked out of the military or something like that. And he feels this, or maybe like make him like a little bit more of a leader or something like that.
They're very bland characters, and they're all kind of one-note-ish, like there's not a lot going on there. It was cool seeing Bruce, because I figured coming into this he'd be more the hero, and this he's just like the store manager that's a bit annoying or whatever, but he plays it well. Bruce is always great, so it's always good to see him.
He definitely is, like, his character is like a callback to like all of those movies and stuff, like all of the Evil Dead stuff. It would have been cool to see more of him, but I think it's really like, you know, when you talk about like these zombie movies and they're stuck in certain places and stuff like that, you learn more about these characters and you feel sympathy and stuff like that for them. That's why when you were saying about like Michael Jai White's character, like you maybe learn like he was like some military guy and he maybe takes charge, but then he gets killed halfway and it's like, well, damn it, what the hell? Like, you maybe learn more about his character, why he's in this position, but that doesn't happen. And then you have like the other black person in this movie. He's the assistant manager, and he's just a dick to everybody, and it's kind of like meh.
To no end, right? That's the problem with his character. Like he and most of the characters, like, they serve no real functions for the movement of the plot or anything.
Or they don't really overcome something where it's
right.
Like the dirty kid, they tried it, but it was so generic. It's just kind of like, oh, he just did a thing.
They're never really so different that they really have to come together. Like, let's put our differences aside to come together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The other thing I will say now, the movie did have some cool stuff, cool action and fun. I think they were doing very well when they were doing the practical effects and suffered a little bit when they went to the visual effects. You know, the computer stuff didn't look very good.
We're going to talk about this because big budget movies, they have the budget to do anything they want.
Yeah.
And the problem is when you do anything you want, there's no real limitation on, okay, I got to shoot it this way. I got to make it look interesting. The problem with B movies is that you can do something the best you can and it looks crappy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, why don't you just keep the zombies just practical?
Yeah, they look cool. Those look cool.
Yeah, because they have the big teeth and stuff like that. But then it turns into a big thing of Jell-O.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and it's just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, it didn't look good. That kind of bummed me out. And to go off of that, the ending of the movie, it wasn't the greatest ending. You know, it was just kind of like, well, we'll kind of distract the monster and kind of like kill him or in a way, and then we'll just drive off. There was no real explanation to any of this. I guess they left it open for a sequel, but it's just like,
Right. It's like, you no really crescendo. Don't care.
Yeah.
No, nothing at all, because it's kind of like it's in the distance. You're just like, oh, well, they got away, but we live in the world now where a movie can't just be by itself anymore, Joe.
Yeah.
You have to have a sequel, and I think that also comes to its detriment. Because it could have just been like, what if it was like something funny and they defeat the monster and then you still have people showing up and they just tell and it's like, that would be funny to me. Like they went through all this stuff and people are still like, so is the sale still going on?
Yeah.
And they just walk off. That's because you see them go through everything, and that goes back to the Black Friday thing, how people are treated working these crazy events and stuff like that. That would have been cool. So, but they didn't do that.
All right, so what are we rating it?
I had high hopes for this one.
Okay.
I liked the premise. I liked a little bit of social commentary. 2.5, and that's nice. Yeah. I thought this would have been cool, like everybody, like, because I've worked Black Friday, and so I share that, like, oh man, like, yeah, people are nuts. But they fell short, so meh. What do you think?
I'll give it a little more. I'm going to say 3 out of 5. There was some fun stuff in there, and I love Bruce Campbell, and I love Michael Jai White, so those were cool things. The movie didn't really bring anything new to the equation as far as this genre movie, but it does have some fun stuff. It just doesn't knock your socks off. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, good little watch, I guess, you know? But just being a fan of those two guys, I did enjoy that aspect of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was meh. That's all I have to say, meh.
Which is like Black Friday in a lot of ways. People get all excited for it and then go out and stay in line, to get a deal on a television?
If we ever expand our show, we probably have to bring an economist to break down like why Black Friday is probably one of the most useless things ever.
Well, he explains it in the movie, remember?
Well, he does explain it, yeah.
Bruce Campbell is like, they mark down the TV, but you pay more for the other stuff in the store. So
that's what they do. Some places hike up the prices right before, and then they take them down like, oh, what a deal. It's like, no, it's not a deal really at all. You just think it's a deal because the prices were hiked up right before you came in.
Kind of like this movie. It was hyped up and...
and then, everything comes full circle, Joe.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that wraps us up then. Yep. Black Friday 2021. Peace.
Deuces.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you liked that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Right, Lamar?
Might as well share the shit.